Hi, so John Taylor at the Ethos Innovation Center with 1 degree of sky time. Um, Continuing on in my last video, I talked, people talked to me about what can I do to make my son or daughter get excited about astronomy. And I shared about some evening objects, but let's look at some morning objects. There are some beautiful things to look at in the morning. So on the bus stop, as we're looking at the sky, and the sun is starting to rise, there's actually two beautiful objects up. And I'm going to back up the morning rise just a little bit. Let's go back in time to where it's dark again. And these are two fun objects to look at: Mars and Venus. These are the two closest planets to us. Venus is about 2/3 of the way towards us from the sun, and Mars is about a half farther beyond us. And that distance does change depending on how they're going around the sun, of course, but at their nearest approach, Venus does actually get closer than Mars. Now, why would we go to Mars and not Venus if it's so much closer? And that has to do with what we call the habitable zone, which Venus is not in it. It's a very hot, hot, hot planet with runaway um, uh, thermal problems due to the greenhouse effect on its surface. Mars is, well, it's dry, a desert, but maybe a better chance of surviving a landing there if we were to take that trip. But anyways, in the morning, these do come up out of the east, and they do move about halfway across the sky to the west, about 45 degrees or so in northern America. Down in Australia, you'd be looking towards the north instead of the south to see the same thing happen from the east to the west travels. These bright things are planets. Venus will be the brightest thing in the sky. And why would you want to look at Venus? Well, if you had a pair of binoculars and you start to look at it, and even a telescope, one thing that would happen, which I'm hoping Stellarium catches for us, is that it won't look so round. It'll actually show some phase. So I'm trying my best to zoom in here, the time we have. And I think maybe we're going to get a chance to see that it isn't quite as round as, there we go. We got a little phase going on here finally. But yeah, it doesn't come out as a round circle. It might take a telescope to pull this out. Binoculars have a little bit of a chance. It looks a bit of a blurrish oval, but that's because it is reflecting light from the sun for us to see it. And that reflection is just on the side nearest the sun. The far side is still going to look dark. The other fun planet to look at is, of course, the red planet, which is Mars. And yes, it will look very red. So let's get south underneath us again. So as we're looking south, there's Mars. Now, I'm not going to zoom up on this one. It's just a very red object. And they are planets. They're not stars. There are red stars, but this is a nice, beautiful, bright object that's a little brighter than the stars around it and easy to pick out. So two fun objects to look at in the morning, and they'll be there for the bus stop for the fall of 2020 for quite a while now. We got another month or two of still seeing them. I would expect through September, October, Mars will move its way across since it's outside, farther away from the sun than we are, but Venus will actually venture back towards the sun eventually, but it'll take a couple months for that to happen. Thanks for joining me. This is a production of Ethos Innovation Center, and I encourage you to check out our stories. We have a collection of stories, science stories read by Lisa Nyers, rather. A lot of fun. Also, Michigan Astronomical Society is a great proponent for all things astronomy as they get their large telescopes out. Another plug for the NITARP program. If you look at participants, look at the teachers, you find a local teacher, if they're on that list, they are very sharp and well with it and can have a fun time talking to you more about astronomy. Thank you again for joining us with 1 degree of sky time. I hope you have a great evening, and thanks for joining me this time.